I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my 3 daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others. Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. Today we are talking about confidence and unshakable confidence. Where does it come from? How do we acquire it? How do we trust ourselves and own our own power? I'm so excited to dive in. Let's get to it. When I was a teacher of kindergarten, and I'm talking 15 plus years ago, I felt like I had a confidence when I worked with the kids, and I had confidence when I worked with the other teachers on my team. And when I would have one-on-one conversations or even in a small group, I had confidence when I was talking to parents one-on-one or one-on-two. But something shifted internally when it was time for parent teacher night. And I had to get up in front of 60 to 100 different parents and speak on behalf of what it was that I was teaching. Something shifted in my mind, and my inner critic would come in and I would feel unworthy. And at the time, I didn't know that that's what I was feeling. But now, after learning a little bit about confidence, I have been able to name what it was that I was feeling in the past. It was unworthiness. It was that I just felt small. I felt like I didn't want all eyes on me because I felt that they were judging me. So how come I have confidence now? How did I get it? Let's talk about all of the above. This episode is meant to help you understand and build on where does confidence come from? What even is it? And how do you start to cultivate it in yourself if you are a listener who is struggling with this? And how do we embody that real confidence? And I love the word embodiment because it really represents that whatever it is that we are looking to be, it must come from somewhere. It must come from a source, right? And a lot of times we are looking for someone on the outside or something on the outside, some indication that we're doing it good enough, or we are like, for instance, when I was a teacher, I would scan the faces of the crowd. When I said I was in a crowd of 60 to 100 people, I was looking for external validation through their facial expressions. And I would start to gauge that. And if they weren't showing interest, or if they weren't smiling, or they were looking away, or they had, any type of facial expression on, they could have been like passing gas for all I know. And I was like using that to judge myself internally that I wasn't good enough. It's crazy now that I realize that our perception, we project that out. And so my perception was that, I just didn't have the skills to take up the space that creates that confidence. Confidence is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about taking action despite the feelings that we have inside of us. So a lot of times our ego will come in and it will try to protect us, and it will create feelings of doubt or shame or fear, especially self-judgment. And it is really important to get that those feelings are not necessarily real. They may feel real inside of our body, right? No one is saying that the feelings that you feel are not real. In fact, they are super real in your body, and they are coming from somewhere. What I'm saying is it is a distortion of reality, and it is your perception that you're feeling these things. And there could have been something that happened a long time ago that is attached to an old wound that is unresolved. And that is where the feelings are coming from. So the feelings are real, but they are not real for in the moment. So if I have to do a parent teacher conference with a whole bunch of parents standing in front of me and I have to present, if I have unresolved feelings or traumas that are attached to something from the past, it's going to feel very real in my body, but it's not going to be about anything that is real right now, other than that my nervous system is being dysregulated. So taking action despite the feelings in your body is one way to override what's going on. And another way is to listen to that inner critic. What is being said to you by the voice in your mind? Is it, they don't like you, you're not good enough, what you need to say here isn't maybe what they want to hear, and you're feeling maybe you're creating a story around, there could be friction around your messaging. So looking at where is that limiting belief or those limiting judgments, where are they stemming from? Something from the past typically, because most of the time the people in front of you are there, and guess what they're doing? Guess what they're doing? They're doing the same damn thing. They're in their mind with their inner critic and their fears and their judgments. And you're both standing there worrying and being concerned about what the other person is thinking. And really, it's an internal fight. It's an internal conflict. So noticing the difference between a false sense of confidence, which is when we are looking to scan people's faces, we are looking on the outside for somebody to give you an indication that you are on the right track, or you're doing good enough, or yay for you. And really telling yourself, like, that stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is going inside, finding that internal validation and being your own cheerleader. Now, cultivating that confidence from the inside out is something that's real and something that is very powerful, and it's unlimited as well. So you are the answer, right? Going inside is always, always the answer. That is the true confidence. And it's this internal trust that you have with yourself. Once you have this beautiful, you start cultivating this relationship with the inner guidance system that is inside everyone, this inner compass. Once you start to make contact with that inner guidance system, you are going to feel a whole lot different about situations that you're in, because you are going to feel this beautiful trust and oneness with yourself. You're going to feel very aligned with yourself, and you're not going to look on the outside anymore. Just the need or the old habit of doing that is going to dissolve away. Confidence is not a personality trait. I used to think that we were born with confidence. I would look around at other people and I would say, oh, she's confident, but I'm not. She must have been born with that. It is not. Confidence is a cultivated skill. Okay. So yes, it is very true that we might have been living or growing up in a house or surrounded by people, friends, the community, what have you. And however they are representing themselves is how you are being modeled. And that is now going to be your representation of yourself. And as a child, we don't really have a choice. We don't have the brain power, the critical thinking skills are underdeveloped. We don't have the capacity to notice what's going on around us and say, you know what, that doesn't seem right. Not when we're very, very little, between the ages of 0 to 7. What we have when we're that young is the ability to take on other people's emotions, other people's beliefs, other people's voices that we hear them say to us directly or indirectly, and we create us. Like, that's how our personality is created. So as you start to become more aware that you are in fact the maker of your reality, you are in fact of you are actually the person that can change the old patterns. You can start to reprogram yourself. Then you start to realize that I have the power. It's not in the power of society any longer. It's not in the power of the first 0 to 7 years of my life. And you're going to start to pull away from the family dynamics a little bit. You're going to maybe start to pull away from some friends, if in fact you choose you first over the beliefs and the patterns of the past. And the root of this low self-confidence is really lives in that subconscious programming. And in order to change it,
You can change it on a subconscious level and a conscious level, but you really need to do that piece, that subconscious work, that deeper level hypnotherapy or neurolinguistic programming techniques. You can do EFT tapping. There's internal family systems. Like there are many, many modalities or techniques that a guide can bring you through. And that is something that I do. And this is why I speak of it, because I lived to tell, so to speak. I went through really, really challenging experiences. And at first it wasn't, my fault, but then it became my responsibility and I refused to take responsibility. I actually didn't know that I could take responsibility. And I love to say this phrase, I didn't know what I didn't know. But now that I do, it really is my responsibility to take leadership over my own confidence and to build it up, to make that connection and grow it, that trust to my internal knowing and my intuition, and claim my power. Like the power is here for me now. And I don't care. I don't judge myself that I'm 51 years old. And, over the last 8 years, I've been learning and about myself some more. So it is what it is. You figure it out when you figure it out, whether you're 25 or you're 51 or you're 75, it actually doesn't matter. There's no judgment here. But I just really want to make it clear that these root issues are at the root and they live in our subconscious. And we are impacted by society, by our family, by our friends, by conditioning. And especially if you're a woman, we are, programmed to be a certain way. And if you have a family that, their culture is that, maybe telling you or training you or molding you that women are to be seen and not heard, or women are to do X, Y, Z, but they're not allowed to do ABC, whatever it is, you have to look at that social programming and take responsibility for shifting it. Okay. You are a responsible individual. If you're listening to this, I assume you are not in the ages of 0 to 7 and your prefrontal cortex is developed. And so that means that, look, the game is yours to now change the trajectory of your life. So building confidence from within is super important. Taking aligned action means that, you don't want to just go too far too fast with anything in life, everything in moderation. But when you start to change your daily habits, they will stack upon themselves. And next thing you know, you will have a brand new habit just because you made a shift and then you did it again the next day. And then you did it again the next day. And you made the unfamiliar familiar and the familiar unfamiliar. Okay. That's really important to get, is that when you take the time to start to reprogram yourself on a conscious level and doing that inner work on a subconscious level, that's when you start to build momentum. So noticing that inner critic when it comes in and it starts to shame you or judge you or talk down to you, what's important is that you are saying, I acknowledge you. I know why you're here. And I'm going to actually reframe. I'm going to pattern interrupt and I'm going to say something more empowering. And talking to that inner voice is always like a direct line of communication with that voice that has been controlling you. And again, that voice is not you. And that voice is meant to actually protect. It believes it's protecting you. So when you hear that familiar voice come in that says, whatever disempowering things that it's used to saying to keep you in an unconfident place, teach it and switch it and reframe it. So noticing too that when you have a setback in something, take it to mean it's a learning experience. Okay. Use that feedback as something that you can grow on. So if there's a challenge, or say you go out and you do something that requires you to do something scary, and in the past you would have been held back by a low self-confidence. If you are able to get through it and you were to say, like, look, I just lived to tell, look at what I just did. Maybe it wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Maybe I was a little rusty in my delivery, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and try it again. I'm going to record it again. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to put myself in that uncomfortable situation again to build that resilience, that self-trust, that power, build it up. So when you fail, or if you've had instances where you felt less confidence, don't chalk it up and say, well, I am inadequate and this isn't for me. Chalk it up as a learning so that you can grow from there. And here's what's really exciting. When you show up powerfully in the world, you are, in fact, being a role model to someone else. And there could be somebody listening to you or watching you or that came across your path. You might be their only lifeline. They may be living in a situation where they are still trapped by the people around them that are speaking negatively. They may feel trapped and they can't get out of their own way. And just by you showing up powerfully and being brave, you are being that role model for that person. So I think that's really important that we are all able to go within ourselves to be the most dynamic and vibrant version of ourselves. And it does start with us. This podcast is all about the inner work and breaking free of that generational trauma so that we can live wild and we can live free and we can be a role model for others. So I'll leave you with that. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. I am Heal with Anna Love, and I look forward to hearing your comments on this podcast. Take care.
Designing a life you love. The Life Design Blueprint membership is your all access pass to exclusive tools, live guidance, and transformational support to help you move from self doubt to self worth. Building on the principles from the Design a Life That Lights You Up ebook, this membership is a deeper dive into creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. You will go beyond surface level self help with hypnotic techniques and live discussions that create real lasting change in your mindset and life. You will receive ongoing support from me and connect with a community of like minded women on a similar journey. Each week, I deliver an empowering hypnosis which offers a unique way of working with your subconscious to reframe limiting beliefs, elevate self worth, and reinforce positive habits. All of our sessions will be recorded and added to our on demand library for easy access to members. Join me by clicking the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. Resonated with you and you're ready to take your leadership to the next level, I'd love to invite you to join my free private Facebook group, Life Design Blueprint. It's a sacred space where I invite and empower women leaders like you to lead with purpose, love, and authenticity. Inside, you'll find tools, insights, and a supportive community to help you clear your shadows, step into your power, and create the life and leadership you're meant for. Head over to Facebook and search for Life Design Blueprint to join us, or check out the link in the show notes to get started. Remember, you're not just a leader, you're a woman with a purpose, and the world needs your authentic light. Until next time, lead with love and live with intention. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.